Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik wa sallam. Now we're going to continue on the du'as of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. So all in all, I try to keep, I think the first flyer said 45 minutes, but I've extended that. All in all, I try to keep you all for 1 hour and 15 minutes, inshallah. So according to this broadcast, it's been 1 hour. So I'll spend about 15 minutes or so on the du'as of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. So last time we did the du'as that came in Surah 11, Surah Hud, and now they are, now let's see how much of this I can do. So I've opened up the 4 other passages in which the du'as of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam come. Alright, so I'm taking them again in the order in which they appear in Quran al-Kareem. Alright, that list go. Okay, so if you turn to Surah 23, Surah Al-Mu'minun, Surah Al-Mu'minun. So this is the next place after Surah Hud that the story of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam is mentioned. The story of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam is mentioned, and so this starts from verse 24 onward. Surah Mu'minun, starting from verse 24 onward, you have the story, second mention in Quran al-Kareem of the story of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. But there's a whole surah, Surah Nuh coming, right? So there's a surah with Nuh, named after Nuh alayhi salam. But before we get to that, okay. So here, surah, from verse 23 onward. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه. And indeed, remember that time when we sent Nuh alayhi salam to his qawm. فقال, and Nuh alayhi salam said to his qawm, Ya qawm i'budu Allah ma lakum min ilahin ghayru. O my community, worship Allah Ta'ala alone. Indeed, you have no deity, no ilah for yourself, ghayruhu, other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, other than him. أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ, that will you not have taqwa? Alright. Now, here again, as I mentioned to you, as was we did in Surah Hud last night, that his community disbelieves in him, his community rejects him, his community says you're just a human. So actually, they're also using rational argument, right? This rational philosophical argument goes both ways, by the way. So this is a perfect example of kufr, disbelievers also using rational argument. Well, you're just a human being like us, so why should we believe in you? Allahu Akbar. Then they use personal attacks, right? So for example, in the next, in verse 25, in huwa illa rajulun bihi jinna. He's majnoon, he's afflicted by insanity, a craze. So the same type of attacks were done on Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and obviously both of these things are false. So now the dua, verse 26. Verse 26, Surah 23, Surah Al-Moon, verse 26, the dua of Nuh alayhi salam, what does he say? Qala, he turns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he says, Rabbin surni bima kadzaboon, that Allah ta'ala help me, support me, means against them, right? Why? For they have kadzaboon, they have done takzeeb, they have belittled me, they have belied me, they have denied me. They're denying that I'm your Nabi. And you can just imagine how much solace Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have felt when Allah Ta'ala revealed these verses to him, because it's exactly the same thing that was done to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, unfortunately by many members of the Arabian Peninsula. And it's interesting that Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam, he's not saying that they insulted me. No, the problem is that they're not viewing me as your Nabi. And the mission you have given to me is to be your Nabi to humanity. So the help I need from you is to help me fulfill the mission you have given to me. This is the type of dua to make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if somebody's hurting us, somebody's harming us, somebody has enmity, hostility to us, somebody is slandering us, somebody is opposing us, and maybe saying all types of things, all of that is irrelevant. Well, the only thing that is relevant is the mission that Allah Ta'ala has placed me with on earth, the purpose of my life. In that, Allah Ta'ala, I need your help against them. So, unsurni means support me, help me vis-a-vis them. You can sort of say against them. Why? بِمَا كَذَّبُونَ, because they have done my takdeeb, they have belittled me, belied me, denied me, falsified me, right? And said, I'm not your Nabi. So this was the greatest of the Anbiya Mursaleen. They weren't in it for people's praise, people's acceptance, people following them. They only were fulfilling the role of Nabuwa so that humanity would be guided to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so this is a dua. So we should learn from this dua and understand from this dua and make proper duas in the same way. So this is Surah Al-Mu'minun, Surah 23, verse 26. Alright, then obviously the passage continues and the verses continue talking about Nabi Nuh alayhi salam up till verse number 30. The next dua of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam mentioned in Quran al-Kareem is in Surah 26. Surah 26, Ash-Shu'ara. Surah 26, Ash-Shu'ara, and this is in verses 117 to 118. So obviously then this is the third place now where the story of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam comes in Quran al-Kareem. So this story here starts from verses 105 onward. Interesting here the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins, so I'll just do a little bit of it for you. كَذَّبَتْ قَوْمُ نُوحٍ مُرْسَلِينَ. كَذَّبَتْ قَوْمُ نُوحٍ الْمُرْسَلِينَ, that the Qawm of Nuh alayhi salam denied Mursaleen, the apostles, is plural. So what it means is when they, now according to most ulama, Nabi Nuh alayhi salam is the second Nabi. So why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using the plural here? So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing here is a very deep teaching, that when you deny one prophet, you're actually denying all of them. Because when you deny one prophet, you're denying the concept of Nabuwa. And when you deny the concept of Nabuwa, means you're denying all of the Anbiya alayhim as-salam ajmain. So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the plural here, that the Qawm of Nuh alayhi salam denied all of the messengers and prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alright. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes who was Nuh. إِذْ قَالَ لَهُمْ أَخُوهُمْ نُوحٌ أَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. So we did that already, that when their brother, so yes, he's their Nabi, but he was also from amongst them, he was from their brethren, he was from their fellow humanity, he was from the same community. So Allah refers to them as Akh. I refer to Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam as Akh. So this is also a beautiful teaching, that the Anbiya were fellows of humanity, they were associates of humanity, they were companions of humanity, they were brethren to humanity, they were the brothers of their people. Allahu Akbar Kabira. Imagine how happy Sahaba Ikram must have been when they heard this. I don't know if any one of them is on record of daring to say this, to say that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that if Nuh alayhi salam was a brother to his community, then it means you were like our elder brother. But that must have certainly been the feeling that they got. And that is one of the meanings of this word, ashab, sahib, sahabi, sahaba, that they're companions to the companions of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So khair, Allah tattaqoon, that will you not adopt taqwa? Inni lakum rasulun ameen. Look, I am a rasul for you, and ameen, I'm trustworthy. I'm trustworthy. Fattaqullaha wa ati'oon. Therefore you should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and obey me. Khair, when, as you continue in this passage, the same story is being mentioned in similar, sometimes identical words, that they refuse to believe in Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. They say that, so then Nuh alayhi salam keeps trying, they keep disobeying. So now in verses 117 onward, the same dua first, but then there'll be a second dua. So the first part is the same, almost exactly the same. Qala, Nuh salam made dua, Rabbi, inna qawmi kadhaboon, that indeed my qawm, kadhaboon, they have belied me, belittled me, falsified me. Faftah baini wa bainahum fathan. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then bring a judgment between me and them, a clear and manifest judgment. Bring a judgment, bring a decision. Right? Bring a decision, a judgment between me and them. Fathan means an absolute decision. Wanajjini, and rescue me from them, deliver me from them. And all of those who are with me from the believers. So then again, remember Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sahaba Ikram learning these ayat, right? That okay, this is also a way that we can be hopeful that one day Allah Ta'ala will decisively settle the matter and judge between us and the unbelievers. And then Allah Ta'ala will give naja'ah. Allah Ta'ala will rescue, give succor, give salvation, give emancipation to the Prophet and all of those who are with the Prophet as believers. So now what we learn for us then, and so obviously this last part, we don't literally are going to make this part of our own du'as, right? So there's some du'as, for example, that we will repeat them word for word, and because the meanings and feelings can be made relevant to our life. There's some few du'as of the Anbiya which are specific to their nubuwah, but there's still lessons in it for us, right? Still lessons in it for us. So if somebody is disputing you, if somebody is hostile to you, you can hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may one day resolve and settle the matter, that Allah ta'ala will rescue you and those who are with you. But it may take time. If you look at the seerah, it took a lot of time before Fateh Makkah. It took 2 decades before Fateh Makkah. Same story with Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. It takes a long time, very long time. Very long time. But this is also something, this is also the humanity, that ultimately when Nuh alayhi salam was faced with so much opposition, so much rejection, he turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to resolve the matter. He turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to resolve the matter. I think we can inshallah finish this tonight. So there are 2 more passages in which the story of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam is mentioned. The last one will be Surah Nuh. The next one is Surah 54, Surah Al-Qamar. Surah 54, Surah Al-Qamar. And here also there is a dua of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam mentioned. And it's again, now this is a very famous dua, oft repeated, that we can repeat word for word. And even sometimes it is made a wird. Wird means something that a person makes, just keeps repeating the dua, pleading to Allah Ta'ala, calling upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pleading with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Surah Al-Qamar, now I won't repeat the rest of the stories that come. Surah Al-Qamar, Surah 54, verse number 10. فَدَعَا رَبَّهُ, and then Nuh alayhi salam made dua to his Rabb. So now you have a change in verb. Earlier we had qal, that he stated to his Rabb. Now it's dua, because it's going to be a plaintive plea, a supplication. What does he say to his Rabb? أَنِّي مَغْلُوبٌ فَانْتَصِرْ, I'm maghloob. I'm utterly overpowered. Fantasir, therefore, Ya Rab, help me. And it's intisar. Those of you know sarf is iftial, is mazid fi. It's even more than help. It's stronger than the mujarrad. Fantasir, anni maghlubun fantasir. And this is a dua that any one of us can make. Anytime you feel that you're completely overwhelmed, you're overpowered. Whether it's some fitna, it's some difficulty, it's some strife, it's some loss, it's some weakness, and you feel completely overwhelmed, and you desperately need, and you know that your only hope lies in the special help that comes from Allah Ta'ala out of His mercy, you can recite this dua, Anni maghlubun fantasir, Anni maghlubun fantasir. Sometimes it might happen that a person is suffering from a ghalabatun nafs, that their nafs is overwhelming and overpowering them, and they feel this strong urge and temptation to sin. At that moment they should say, Anni maghlubun fantasir, Anni maghlubun fantasir. Yalla, I'm being overwhelmed, I'm maghlub, my nafs has become ghalib, is overpowering me. Fantasir, you need to help me, I need your help, I need your special help. So this is maybe very important dua of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. Very important dua of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. Okay, and the last and final one is in Surah Nuh, the surah named after Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. Alright. Now this is when Nabi Nuh alayhi salam finally, ultimately, prays for the destruction, so to speak, of his people. Alright. So this is Surah 71, Surah Nuh, verses 26 to 28. So again, I'm just going to do the dua now. وَقَالَ نُوحٌ. So here it's qal. So again, it's not as intense as dua. رَبِّ لَا تَذَرْ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ دَيَّارًا. That, oh Allah, don't leave on earth, don't leave on the face of this entire earth even a single dweller inhabitant of this earth from the disbelievers. So that's a very intense dua. Now that is obviously something none of us are going to repeat, right? And that is not actually a dua that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa wasallam made. But this was the will and wish of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that time, that Allah ta'ala wished to remake humanity, purge humanity from all of those who disbelieved in Him, and remake humanity from scratch from a community of believers. But as all of us know, our human history, the history of humanity, the history of prophets, even though that is what happened, still then, the descendants of that, the community of Nuh alayhi salam, gradually over time then again descended into disbelief. And then again Allah Ta'ala will send Anbiya. And again some would believe, some would disbelieve. And then again the generations after those who believed would again go astray. And then again Allah Ta'ala will send a Nabi. And this keeps continuing until it ends with the last and final prophet and messenger, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But it shows the humanity of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam, that ultimately he had to give up on those members of humanity who were so firm and adamant in their disbelief in him. But this is not a path that we will follow. Why? It doesn't mean Nuh alayhi salam was wrong in any way. It was right for him at his time. But because Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last and final prophet and messenger, therefore there is no more Nabi coming. Therefore there is no further hope or chance for humanity. Therefore we must always remain hopeful for every member of humanity, and we must strive for them to fulfill this, that they should ultimately, finally, inshallah, accept Iman in Allah Ta'ala and Iman in Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now, Nabi Nuh alayhi salam, let me just finish the dua because there are two more ayahs. He gives a reason, right? And then we'll be done for tonight, inshallah. He says, Innaka intadharhum, because indeed, Ya Allah, if you leave any one of them as dwellers or inhabitants on earth, yudhillu ibadak. So it's not just that they're not believing, they will lead astray your ibad, your worshipful servants and slaves. Wala yalidu, and they will give birth to children and progeny, illa fajiran kafara, who will be wicked and disbelievers. Allahu Akbar Kabira. This shows also Nabi Nuh alayhi salam is recognizing that when people choose evil, they commit to evil, they're adamant on evil, then they will also have an opposition to what is good. They will have an enmity and hostility and opposition to that which is pure. Then after that, then look at what the dua that Nabi Nuh alayhi salam makes. And again, this is obviously a dua that we will repeat. Rabbi gfirli wali walidayya, that, oh my Rabb, forgive me and forgive my two parents. Waliman dakhala baytiya mu'mina, and anyone who ever enters my home in a state of Iman. Walil mu'minina wal mu'minat, and all the believing men and all the believing women. So the notion is the bait of a Nabi, and you have to remember here, by the way, because I'm leaving out this very, very important aspect of the story. Remember that Nabi Nuh alayhi salam did dawah on his community with love for 950 years. And that's more than any other Nabi ever did. Right? It's only after this 950 years, 1 millennium of effort that's mentioned in Quran al-Kareem, right? That finally his heart despaired of them, and he realized, and obviously one can also rationally understand that any community of people or their children or their multiple generations, because the Quran suggests that Nuh alayhi salam was miraculously alive for 950 years, means he was dealing with, let's say, 30 years of a generation, 31 or 2 generations. And imagine then that disbelief and hostility to Iman that last 32 generations. For people like that, Nuh alayhi salam is perfectly, appropriately saying about them that you cannot leave any of them left on earth, and they will just they will try to lead astray your worshipful servants, and they will give birth to none others that disbelieve, because he saw this across 30-something generations. Alright? So it's very important to understand. But in all that time of his 950 years, he makes dua that Allah Ta'ala forgive anyone who entered his bayt, means his abode of Iman, means his ummah, right? And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should forgive all of the believers, believing men and women. So that would include, inshallah, you and me, inshallah. وَلَا تَزِدِ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا تَبَارًا. And Allah Ta'ala don't create any increase to the zalimeen, the oppressors and tyrannical perpetrators of injustice, other than tibara. Just bring a destruction and increase your shattering of destruction upon them. Alright? So this is the du'as of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. Again, the last part, no, we will never make that, because we will never be in a right to make that, and none of us obviously have done 950 years of dawah, and because, like I mentioned to you, this is the last stage of humanity, and humanity is living under the shade of the last Nabi, the last Ummah, and we must always be optimistic and always be hopeful. So, khair. So maybe the most important takeaway dua of all of this was Anni Maghlooban Fantasir, the dua that Nabi Nuh alayhi salam made, and one can imagine that he must have made that for 900 of those 950 years, right? And that was a constant thing, and this is his himmah, that he never gave up. And he always believed that Allah Ta'ala would help him. He kept believing. It's only finally when Allah Ta'ala inspired him. So just going broadly to a story, when Allah Ta'ala inspired him to build the boat, then he realized that, okay, fine, if it's ending, then it should end in such a way that none of them should be left. But otherwise, for 950 years, without an Allahu Alam, whether Allah Ta'ala inspired him, how long he would live, but if we just take the default position that no human being knows how long they will live, he kept living and he kept trying on 30 plus generations. And that is a great da'i, a great Nabi, alayhi assalam ajma'in. And that means that even if people aren't accepting your dawah, people are resisting your dawah, people are refuting your dawah, people are opposed to your dawah, you must keep continuing on, and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can pull the plug on the path of dawah. Right? And so these are all lessons to learn from the life of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam. May Allah Ta'ala accept us to learn these lessons. May Allah Ta'ala give us a blessed Ramadan, may give us tawfiq to understand Quran al-Kareem and to live by the understandings of Quran al-Kareem, not just in Ramadan, but in our whole life. Wa akhir da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.